Picture yourself in the CELPIP reading test, calm, focused, and ready. Every question feels manageable because you know exactly how to find the answers quickly. You're not guessing, you're using a clear method. And when the test finishes, you walk out feeling confident and proud. You know you've done well and achieved the score you need. Your Canadian dream is one step closer to becoming real. This is the approach candidates use inside our CELPIP packages. When they focus on strategic preparation rather than simply studying harder, their scores can transform dramatically. In this video, I'll show you what separates CLB 7 candidates from CLB 10, 11, and 12 candidates, and how you can start preparing like a high-scoring candidate today. This one strategy can transform your entire approach to CELPIP reading and help you reach the CLB 10 or higher you're aiming for. If you're ready to prepare smarter, keep watching. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to prepare with focus, strategy, and total confidence. Let's get started. Many CELPIP candidates spend months preparing for the reading test, but they can't seem to get past CLB 7. They read carefully, they understand the passages well, but they keep running out of time or making mistakes. The issue isn't their English level. The real problem is how they approach the test. Candidates who score CLB 10 or 12 don't read differently because their English is perfect. They score higher because they understand something important. CELPIP reading isn't really about reading. It's about scanning and matching information. This might sound strange, but once you understand this difference, everything changes. When you treat CELPIP reading like a normal reading test, you waste a lot of time. You read entire passages, trying to understand everything. You get distracted by details that don't matter for the questions. Before you realize it, you've spent way too long on one section, and you still have others left to finish. High-scoring candidates approach the test completely differently. They don't try to understand every single detail. They scan quickly for specific information and match keywords from the questions to the passage. They move fast and stay focused, spending their time only on what actually helps them find answers. This strategic approach is called the scan and match strategy, and it will completely change how you handle CELPIP reading passages. The scan and match strategy has 3 simple steps. First, you read the question before you look at the passage. Second, you find important keywords in the question. Third, you scan the passage looking only for those keywords and the information around them. This feels wrong at first. Most people think they should read the whole passage carefully before they start answering questions. But doing it that way creates 2 big problems. The first problem is time. Reading an entire passage carefully takes too long. CELPIP reading gives you a limited amount of time for 4 different parts with about 38 questions. If you spend too many minutes just reading passages, you won't have enough time left to answer all the questions. This puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on you. The second problem is memory. Even if you read and understand a whole passage, you can't possibly remember every detail when you start working on the questions. You'll end up going back to read parts again just to double-check information. Basically, you're reading the passage twice. This wastes so much time. The scan and match strategy fixes both problems. When you read the question first, you know exactly what you're looking for. You don't waste time on parts that don't matter. You go through the passage with a purpose, scanning quickly and matching keywords until you find what you need. This way is faster, more focused, and it works much better. Let me show you exactly how to use this strategy. The first step is reading the question before you even look at the passage. Reading the question carefully does 2 important things for you. First, it tells you exactly what information you need to find and match. Each question is asking for something specific. maybe someone's opinion, a reason, or a fact. When you know what you're looking for, you can scan and match much more efficiently. Second, reading the question helps you recognize what type of question it is. Different question types require different strategies. For example, inference questions ask you to draw conclusions about something that is not stated directly in the text. By contrast, specific information questions ask you to locate one piece of information in the text. When you recognize the question type immediately, you can apply the right technique straight away. When you read a question, pay close attention to three things: question words, keywords, and qualifiers. Question words tell you what kind of information you need to find: who, what, when, where, why, or how. Keywords are the important content words that will help you scan and match the answer. Specific nouns, verbs, or phrases that will probably appear in the passage. Qualifiers are words that limit or specify the information. Words like main, only, always, sometimes, or most. Here's an example. What is the writer's main concern about the new policy? The question word is what, so you need to identify something. The keywords are concern and new policy. The limiting word is main. This tells you that you need to scan for and match the biggest concern. Reading questions carefully takes some practice, but it's really important. Don't rush through this part. The time you spend here will save you time later when you're scanning the passage. By the way, if you want this channel to keep going, write yes in the comments. Click like and subscribe. We only make videos that you actually want to watch. After you've read the question carefully, step 2 is finding the keywords that will help you scan the passage and match the answer. This step is crucial because keywords work like road signs. They guide you to the right part of the text where you can match the information. Finding good keywords means you also need to think about synonyms and different ways to say the same thing. CELPIP reading passages almost never use the exact same words as the questions. The test does this on purpose to check if you can match ideas even when the wording is different. For example, if a question says elderly residents, the passage might say senior citizens or older people in the community. You need to scan for these variations and match them. If a question asks about workplace problems, the passage might talk about issues at work or challenges among colleagues. You scan for these related terms and match the meaning. This means when you find keywords, you also need to think of other words that mean the same thing, so you can match them when scanning. When you see children in a question, also think of kids or young people. When you see increase, think of rise, grow, or go up. When you see problem, think of issue, challenge, or difficulty. Some keywords are easier to scan for and match than others. Names of people, places, organizations, or specific things usually appear in the passage, exactly as they're written in the question. Numbers and dates also usually match exactly. These are your best keywords for scanning because they rarely get changed to different words. When you're looking for keywords, focus on content words, not little grammar words. Content words are nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, the words that carry the actual meaning. Look at this question. According to the passage, what caused the big increase in downtown traffic? The content words to scan for and match are caused, big increase, and downtown traffic. Also pay attention to any specific terms or special vocabulary in the question. These words will almost definitely appear in the passage, making them great keywords to scan for and match. For example, if a question mentions migration patterns or industrial revolution, these phrases will almost certainly appear in the text, probably near the answer. Practice finding keywords regularly. The more you do it, the faster and better you'll get at scanning and matching. Eventually, you'll spot keywords almost instantly, and you can move quickly to scanning the passage and matching the information. The third and final step is scanning the passage to locate the keywords and find the answers. Scanning is very different from regular reading. When you read normally, you look at every word in order. When you scan, you move your eyes quickly across the lines, looking only for specific words or phrases that you can match. Good scanning means trusting your eyes to catch words even when you're not looking directly at them. Your eyes are actually really good at spotting words in your peripheral vision. As you move down the page, your brain automatically notices words that match what you're looking for. When you spot a keyword, stop and read the sentences around it carefully to match the information. The key to good scanning and matching is staying focused on the keywords you're looking for. Don't let interesting information pull your attention away. Don't start reading sentences that have nothing to do with your question. Your only job is finding and matching the specific information you need to answer the question you're working on. When you find a keyword, read the sentences around it carefully to match the meaning. The answer is usually within 1 or 2 sentences of the keyword. Sometimes it's right in the same sentence. Sometimes it's in the sentence just before or just after. Once in a while, you'll need to read a whole paragraph to match the full context. Pay close attention to how the information is expressed so you can match it properly. Remember that CELPIP Reading tests whether you understand paraphrasing, so the answer won't use the exact same words as the question. You need to understand the meaning and match it to what the question is asking. For example, a question might say, Mr. Chen would most likely agree that remote work policies should prioritize. And here you can see 4 answer choices. The passage might say, technology consultant Mr. Chen argues that flexible work arrangements must balance employee well-being with organizational productivity, noting that sustainable policies consider both mental health support and clear performance expectations. You need to recognize that remote work equals flexible work arrangements. You also need to understand Mr. Chen's reasoning about employee well-being and organizational productivity to figure out what he believes is most important. The correct answer is B, because it matches Mr. Chen's view about balancing employee well-being with organizational productivity. The other options are plausible, but don't accurately reflect his perspective stated in the passage. Sometimes you'll find that your keywords appear multiple times in the passage. When this happens, use your other keywords from the question to narrow down the right spot and match the correct information. Look for other important words from the question that appear near your main keywords so you can match them accurately. One common mistake candidates make is spending way too long on hard questions. If you've scanned carefully and still can't find the answer, just make your best guess and move on. Don't let one tough question eat up time you could use to answer easier questions. Also remember that in CELPIP reading, especially in part 4, you often need to understand viewpoints and opinions. Sometimes the answer isn't a direct fact, but what the writer is suggesting or implying. Read carefully to understand what the writer actually thinks before you answer the question. Even when you're using the scan and match strategy, it's easy to make mistakes that hurt your score. Knowing about these mistakes helps you avoid them and get the best CLB level you can. The first common mistake is reading questions too fast. Some candidates rush through questions to save time, but this makes them miss important details. Always take enough time to read the questions properly. Understanding exactly what the question is asking is essential for answering it correctly. The second mistake is scanning too quickly without really paying attention. Scanning and matching needs focused attention, not just moving your eyes fast down the page. Your brain needs a second to register words and spot matches. If you scan too fast, you'll miss keywords and won't be able to match the information properly. The third mistake is reading too much. After finding a keyword, some students start reading big chunks of text and lose their focus on matching. Remember, you only need to read enough to match the information to answer the specific question. Usually that's just 1 or 2 sentences, and sometimes a full paragraph if you need more context. The next mistake is not managing your time well. CELPIP reading requires you to keep moving through all 4 parts. Some sections are easier than others. If you finish a part quickly, go straight to the next one. Don't waste time checking your answers over and over unless you have extra time at the end. Mistake number 5 is second-guessing yourself. If you have scanned carefully, found good information, matched it properly, and picked an answer with confidence, trust yourself. A lot of students change correct answers to wrong ones because they overthink things. Only change an answer if you find clear proof that your first match was wrong. That's the scan and match strategy. By reading each question first, identifying keywords carefully, and scanning strategically, you'll approach CELPIP reading with focus and efficiency. This strategy turns CELPIP reading from something overwhelming into a simple task of scanning and matching. It can help you save time, feel less stressed, and improve your CLB level. Remember, this strategy takes practice. If you're serious about achieving the CELPIP score you need, check out our CELPIP packages using the link below. We provide step-by-step guidance, complete templates for speaking and writing, and everything you need to feel confident on test day. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their CELPIP score too. See you in the next video!